first data set we're going to be looking at is the Old Faithful data set, which if you look at it, what it tells you is it gives you the length of eruptions and the waiting time between eruptions for Old Faithful at Yellowstone National Park. So if we were to create a histogram of this data, you can see here that this does not appear to be very normally distributed, right? If we were to overlay a line on this, it doesn't look like our bell-shaped symmetric curve. So what about if we were to do a QQ plot? Because this doesn't appear to be normal. Or a QQ plot should be a straight line if it appears to be normal data, but you'll notice here that it actually looks like it has an S curve. So our QQ plot plots the theoretical quantiles of the data. This would be the data if it were actually from a normal distribution. You've got your sample quantiles, that's the actual data. And then when you graph them with each other, this is the shape it has, not a straight line. What about if we were to do the same thing, but with the waiting times? The first one was for our eruptions. So we do a histogram of the waiting times. And again, this does not appear to be a normally distributed data set. If we do our QQ plot, again, you will see that it's not as curved, and it does, have a little bit of a straight line that could describe it. But in the end, you can see that there's clearly a curve in it. And then one more example from real data set is we have this data set called mtcars. mtcars is a data set of about cars with things like miles per gallon, horsepower, weight, number of cylinders in the engine, whether it's manual or automatic transmission, things like that. We're going to focus on the miles per gallon of the car. So if we look at the cars and their miles per gallon and we were to create a histogram, so now this one does look like there could be some normality to it. It's not 100% normal, but it's probably just because we don't have a lot of data if there were more cars. Because if I were to look at how many cars there are, so I do length, mtcars, mpg, you'll see that there's 32 cars in this data set. So not necessarily a lot, but if we had more, maybe it would start to look like a normal distribution. Let's see what the QQ plot shows though. Okay, so you can see from this that it's a little curved and everything like that, but if you were to draw a line through it, it does appear that there could be some normality to this data. Now, of course, if we had more data, it probably would be more normal. It'd probably be a straighter line. Now, the last example I'm going to do is I'm actually creating some data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have data here, which is going to be based on a normal distribution. I'm going to get 100 data points with a mean of 21 and a standard deviation of 2. So if I were to do that, know what I just ran. These are our data points. You see the first data point, 19.755559, 19.68042, so on and so forth. We have 100 data points from a known normal distribution with a mean of 21 and a standard deviation of 2. If I were to create my histogram, okay, so in this case, overall, it does look pretty normal, right? It looks like we have about a normal distribution, but it does seem like there's one spot here where we do have an exceptional amount of data points. Let's see what the QQ plot says. Okay, this does appear to be a pretty straight line. And we know that this one should be normal because we actually pulled the data randomly from a normal distribution. So really what happened with this histogram is we probably just got a higher amount here due to randomness. Let's try it again. We'll pull 100 new data points. We'll create this histogram. Okay, again, it's got, a general normalized shape, but, it has some variation. And it's because I'm not pulling a lot of data points. But if we look at our QQ plot, okay, again, this does appear to be a pretty straight line. Let's take it one step further and let's just do 1,000 data points. And now when I do my histogram, this is starting to look a lot more normalized. If I do my QQ plot, that's a pretty solid straight line. If I did 100,000, now this data definitely looks like it has a normal distribution based on our histogram, and our QQ plot is going to be basically a perfectly straight line. And this should be because we pulled this data specifically from a normal distribution. So this was just a brief example for me to kind of show you how a histogram and QQ plot can be used to kind of get an idea of the general shape and normality of the data.
Thank you for watching. To continue learning, click the linked video here for the next lesson. If there's a topic you'd like me to cover, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.